Hello and welcome to Arthat, your go-to podcast where we dissect, analyze, and help to find major global stories. I'm Sakshi Shree, and in today's episode, we are
Mhm.
going to discuss the complexities and the status of India, Sri Lanka, and the Katchatheevu Claims.
Mm,
To shed on this complex
mm.
issue, we are joined by a distinguished guest, Mr. PV Rao, Emerite Professor of Political Science, a National Fellow at ICSSR, Editor at Journal of Indian Ocean Region, Rutledge, and a visiting faculty member at the Center for Aerospace and Defense Law at NALSAR University of Law. Welcome, Professor Rao, and thank you so much for taking the time today.
Thank you. Thank you.
Let's dive directly into the in. And sir, in the past few days,
Mm.
it's clear this Katchatheevu controversy has constantly making the headlines in India ahead of
Mm.
2024 Lok Sabha elections. Political leaders,
Yeah.
different ideologies, different parties, but at each other's throat
Mm.
ahead of elections over this.
Mm.
It had kind of long been considered a
Yeah.
diplomatic settled matter suddenly got dragged up in this election. What is the significance of the
Yeah.
Katchatheevu India? Can you provide the listeners with some background on this and why they matter in the context of India-Sri Lanka relations?
Yeah. Let me tell you, there are neither legal nor legitimate grounds to bring into public domain and discussion once again the Katchatheevu issue. Exactly in 1974, this agreement was inked between two responsible, neighborly, and also sovereign states. And we are into 2024, 50 years, half a century has been completed. In my view, by and large, barring some periodic, sporadic, and media overplayed incidents, if at all, this 50-year-old agreement between India and Sri Lanka has worked well. There is no reason now to bring it into the public discussion, make it a big issue out of that one. Definitely doesn't augur well. Neighborhood first. Some of those listeners, if they will follow me in the last 7 to 8 years, neighborhood first is one of the important principles of India's foreign policy. Many of us know the highest political leadership and leaders of India, including Prime Minister. He has been visiting many important neighboring countries, maybe almost all of them. And wherever he went, he has been emphasizing that India wants to give highest priority to maintain good relations with Nepal or Bhutan or Sri Lanka.
Yes, sir.
In this context, it is rather unfortunate and also uncalled for to rake up this Katchatheevu issue. This is my submission and my position.
Yes, sir. So, as rightly pointed out, also for the benefit of our viewers, could you tell us a little bit about the origin of this controversy? Because it's coming from the past, from 1976, 1975, and
Mm.
what's the nature of the historical dispute between the India and Sri Lanka over the Katchatheevu status?
Okay, let me tell you, both are maritime countries. We share our maritime boundary not only with Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, Myanmar, Maldives, mind you, including Thailand in the Bay of Bengal,
Yeah.
Indonesia, as also Pakistan. Touch wood, I'm quite very happy about India's foreign policy pursuit. When the United Nations Law of the Sea debates were very much underway, India had preempted its foreign policy pursuit attempts to sign maritime boundary agreements with all our maritime neighbors except Pakistan. And I can say proudly as a national and Indian, by and large, all the maritime boundary agreements called IMB agreements that India had signed, they have been largely without any dispute, cordially they have been signed, our own maritime counterparts like Burma or Thailand, Indonesia, they are not making any dispute, not India is raking up any issue about them. So therefore, signing the not exactly Katchatheevu agreement, signing international maritime boundary agreements in the Pak Strait or Pak Bay in the Bay of Bengal, which is Sri Lanka, has to be seen in the broader context of India trying to work out finally, formally, her own maritime boundaries with other neighbors also. It was in that context it was signed. No doubt there had been certain. Why certain? That time there was a controversy that Katchatheevu belongs to India, Katchatheevu does not belong to Sri Lanka, so on and so forth. Particularly this kind of the objections were raised only by the politicians and people belonging to the Tamil Nadu state. I remember that time also I was following the issue from any other state of South India, neither Andhra Pradesh, a maritime coastal state, nor Kerala, nor Karnataka. Nobody raised any dispute about the Katchatheevu island except Tamil Nadu. I understand, and our own foreign minister this week also had pointed out, it was not just signed between India and Sri Lanka without consulting Tamil Nadu state or Tamil Nadu government. Regular contact were maintained. The Tamil Nadu government, including the chief ministers or staff advisors, were taken into consideration. Only after that, consensually, Tamil Nadu, Delhi, and Colombo, after reaching the consensus, this 1974 and 1976 agreement with Sri Lanka was signed. The issue was whether Katchatheevu Island, a very small, tiny one, off the Rameswaram coast of India, I understand just about 250 or 260 acres of piece of land. Now, the government of India had gone through a past record on the basis of authenticity of record, contestation, government of India, and sanctified by the government of Tamil Nadu, they were convinced that it is not a part of the Indian territory, which one Katchatheevu. They went ahead and signed it. And I don't think there's any reason to really make it and draw it into public domain and raise once again what you call the controversy about that one.
Great, sir. Great point, sir. I really appreciate that. And there are obviously repercussions on to this as well. It is being politicized at this point of time. But the fact the matter that it's not the site of this land that matters. It's perhaps owning or having some sort of responsibility to this piece of land, which is real the concern over here, isn't it?
I perfectly agree, Madam, with your point. Is it really necessary between two governments, sovereign states, to discuss it now? Now tell me, I shall raise myself provocatively certain issues. Not exactly that type of agreements, but we also signed with other neighboring countries recently, not long ago, some boundary agreements. Now, should we drag them into public debate now? Why only Katchatheevu now? You know, I know the whole people who are interested in this debate, who are following know it. We have to look at the timing of this issue being raked up. That means for electoral gains, political advantages, this is being only brought into or dragged into public debate. Why all these years? I'll tell you something. When Vajpayee was in opposition, he raised serious objection to the Katchatheevu agreement. When क्यों देना है ये अपना ही है वो तो श्रीलंका को क्यों देना है, typically in his own character style. But when Vajpayee became prime minister, he did not make Katchatheevu a big issue. He did not even once again raise any objection to that one. He was Prime Minister, mind you, for 5 years. Ever since, successive governments in Delhi, they have not really made much noise. Delhi government, that time, or certain government, they stood by it. It is an international agreement between two sovereign states, number one. It's legal. Secondly, like every border agreement, international maritime boundary agreement signed between Republic of India and Republic of Sri Lanka has to be deposited. I repeat, has to be deposited with the United Nations organization. And it has been deposited. Once it is deposited, once it is signed formally between two sovereign states, that means international states, respectable government, and transparently, legally, it is a legal document. One country cannot just pull it up again for domestic reasons and rake it up. India, as a respectable international personality, active member of the UNO, now seeking to become a permanent member of the Security Council, and also a very important dynamic actor in the international relations today, known to be a peace-loving country, respecting international treaties, agreements, conventions. Now, our reputation, would be sorry to say, would be rather marred. Our reputation would be rather what I may call disturbed as a responsible great power in international politics, as an important neighboring country which believes in maintaining good neighborly relations with all the neighboring countries, then I think it is not appropriate at all. Such an important agreement in all transparency has been signed with a neighboring country with which we need to maintain, given the current context of China's inroads into Sri Lanka. Definitely from static security point of view doesn't augur well for India's national interest. And bringing up this issue again, I'm afraid might draw a wedge, might distance our own neighboring Sri Lanka from us. So therefore, I strongly am opposed to talking more, making the big issue out of the Katchatheevu.
I agree, sir. And the point that you have made on these aspects are
Yeah.
right. And in that case, if we take on the political side, if we take on the legal aspects of this dispute, obviously, as you said, law of the sea, like UNCLOS come into picture, then there is a membership at the member seat at the Security Council that impact, and that is the one of the case that needs to be considered. But this is not just about the legal aspect or political aspect. We can see it from the people's angle as well. At a time when China is looking to expand its presence in the Indian Ocean region, Katchatheevu assumes greater strategic significance for India. It also impacts the lives of thousands of fishermen from India, especially those from the Tamil, as rightly said by you. And how Katchatheevu matters to Indian fishermen, because sometimes as the climate change impact on the sea as well as the areas and the other aspects on the sea. So how can you see into that matter in the perspective of the Indian fishermen?
Thank you. I appreciate you raised two issues. One is the bigger issue, the strategic importance of Katchatheevu. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
And you also raise a grassroots issue, that means about the fishermen. Okay?
Yeah.
Now, let me clarify to you. I have some definite ideas. Katchatheevu does not have any strategic or security importance to India. It is very close to Tamil Nadu state. We have not heard of any kind of a foreign involvement or even foreign warship like China's ship coming to Colombo. There are no reports or incidents of any foreign involvement or foreign warships or movements or intelligence gathering machinery moving around Katchatheevu, definitely I have not come across as a student of maritime affairs and Indian Ocean affairs. I can rule out. Moreover, our Coast Guard, our Indian Navy, and our Eastern Naval Command, not very, very far from Katchatheevu, is located in Visakhapatnam, day in and day out, through a satellite surveillance intelligence mechanism. We can easily find out if any anti-Indian maritime activity is going around Katchatheevu or IMB between India and Sri Lanka, or for that matter, Park Bay. We have no reason to worry about, because we have got a strong navy, which is the fourth largest navy in the world, and our Coast Guard is no less. And recently, about 4 or 5 years ago, after the Mumbai 26/11 attack, the Home Ministry also introduced what you call coastal police stations. So Katchatheevu is, I believe, about 12 nautical miles from Rameswaram. 12 nautical miles is too close an area, a piece of land. So I don't really attach much of static significance to Katchatheevu. It will not go out of the gauge of India's maritime security forces. That is my position, my take on this one. Is that okay?
Yes, sir.
No. You also have a grassroots issue of Indian fishermen being harassed, jailed, so on and so forth.
Right.
Sorry to say, only Indian fishermen harassed. Lankan fishermen are not harassed. Are they not being troubled? The point here is the Indian fishermen, mainly the fishermen of that region, Tamil Nadu coastal areas, they are powerful in every way, politically, financially, and also they have got very sound, strong, mechanically advised trawlers, fishing vessels. None of these Lankan fishermen are having. Financially, they are weak, backward. They don't enjoy any strong political lobbies, being a small state. And here, insofar as the trawlers are concerned of Tamil Nadu or other surrounding fishing vessels, they are called sea bottom vessels, deep sea vessels. They can go deep into the sea, bucketing out the fishing resources around the Katchatheevu, and there have been reports of an Indian fisherman also violated IMB. They entered into the Sri Lankan waters. They do it. Only thing is, our media doesn't give much significance, and when the fishermen of Tamil Nadu are arrested, becomes a big hue and cry. It's not only the Indian fishermen who are being victimized, troubled, or punished, but I, for one, also take rather more a saner view of the fact that our own maritime security people also are party to, if not regular, but occasional harassment of the fishermen coming from Sri Lanka. See, we have to see it in the broader context of how the legitimate rights, day-to-day living, dependence on the sea by the poor people of a small state. Tell you what is the Sri Lanka style compared to India from any point of view? Don't you really think so? That we need to take more a broader view of our smaller neighbor. So therefore, I for one think that I won't give extraordinary weightage to the allegation that only fishermen of India are being victimized, troubled, punished, etc. It is the other way also. Not one side can be blamed for this one.
Yes, sir. Well pointed out. And just to stop you for a second, that before going ahead with into the domestic politics, I want to take a call on the, as you have rightly said, that maritime choke points adds a layer of complexity to the security calculus for India and Sri
Mm.
Lanka. And the control over the island can influence the naval operations or intelligence gathering or defense
Yes.
post. And
Yeah.
over here, but there is an clause that comes into the picture with that note, and it says that, okay, clause 5 or 6 says that, okay, there are certain right of fisherman which needs to be considered, and which are there, is still there, and because we have India has ratified and signed the N clause, so we have come into the agreement. But don't you think that when you are looking forward into the broader picture of the global arena, and you are there into the Indian Ocean region as one of the major legal aspect, so how do you consider it into the defense implications and this dispute into the impact of the security dynamics in the region?
Let me tell you, madam,
Yeah,
there any two neighboring coastal states, particularly in the Indian Ocean region, they have this problem of fishermen violating the maritime boundaries.
yeah,
I can quote you ample of fishing disputes, particularly Eastern Africa, between Tanzania and Kenya, Kenya and Uganda, Uganda and Mozambique. I was there in some of these conferences. Once you talk of Indian Ocean security, our African friends only start quarreling between them because first they are not very clear and they are not very good. They abide by the EEZ, territorial sea, continental shelf. These are maritime divisions clarified by the United Nations Law of the Sea Convention. There are fishing disputes between Taiwan and China also.
right.
These, these disputes between Sri Lankan fishermen, Indian fishermen are not unique, are not peculiar. Let them not single out. Don't you think between Maldives and Sri Lanka also there are disputes about the fishermen? And we have dispute with Pakistan where Pakistan refuses to enter into negotiations on signing maritime boundary with India. This is the only state which refused to negotiate and sign with India in that area called what's called the Kutch Island or Run of Kutch area, except Pakistan. Everybody is respecting the IMB, every neighboring country. My submission is either Pakistan or Maldives or Kenya, Tanzania, and also the Gulf countries. Everybody is involved as neighboring coastal state in fishermen dispute. And specifically coming to Indian and Sri Lankan efforts, I think something that you were referring to, can they enter into some kind of working arrangement on the ground? Yes. Any number of times, senior officials, I remember very well, the former Foreign Secretary, Ambassador Sham Sharan, no, sorry, don't quote me. I think Ambassador Shoshankar Menon, I think,
Yes, sir.
and other senior foreign ministerial officials from that side, Colombo, from Delhi, and often involved by the Tamil officials, including their own fishermen. There are long discussions. To the best of my knowledge, there's some kind of an understanding that they should be cautioned by the respect to Coast Guard not to cross the international maritime boundary, number one. Now, therefore, enough efforts, attempts, all sincerity have been made by Delhi, by Colombo, by Tamil Nadu people also. So there is no such thing that no ground level effort has been put into place to find some kind of a settlement, a solution to the frequent fishermen dispute between the two countries. There are certain ground rules have been laid down.
Yes, sir. Thank you for rightly pointed out the entire aspects in terms of politics, in terms of domestic pressures, in terms of different dynamics from the strategic interest, historical grievances, and diplomacy dialogue. And I'm really grateful to have you here. But we are running out of time. I have more questions, but won't be able to carry it further. Thank you so much, sir, for your insights into the intricate world of India, Sri Lanka, and the Katchatheevu Claims.
Welcome.
That concludes today's episode of Whisper Across the Waters, the Katchatheevu Claims. Join us next time for another captivating discussions on maritime affairs and the global diplomatic orders and stories. Until then, stay curious and stay informed. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Good luck. Good.